All right, guys, what's going on? Hope everybody's out there staying high speed and motivated and accomplishing their goals, whatever they may be. So I've pushed out a few short form videos on this topic already, but I wanted to make a longer video for you guys just so that I could add some additional context to the issue. And that is that Ranger School is looking to change the RPA again. The RPA is the first physical event that you'll do at Ranger School. It's during the first day of RAP week. And as of today, and for the last, I don't know, maybe 20 or so years, the RPFT has been the RPA, and the RPFT has been 49 push-ups, 59 sit-ups, a 5-mile run in 40 minutes or less, and then topping it all off with 6 chin-ups. That was the standard to get you in through the gates to Ranger School to be able to start your training. Last year, ARTB was talking about changing the RPFT, the RPA, into what they were calling the RPA 2.0, and it was going to be completely different than what the current RPA is. But now there's rumblings again about a new version of the RPA, newer than what they were talking about last year. And this isn't just rumblings coming from the private news network. This is actual RIs talking about it and the commandant of Ranger School himself. Testing phases have already begun in some classes of IBOLIC, very similar to how they were getting after it last year with the other RPA they were looking to implement. It does look like they're very serious about updating the Ranger School PT test standard as a whole. There is a second new version of what we can expect here in the foreseeable future. And so I'm going to give you a breakdown of the events so that you know what you can be prepared for. I don't want you to jump the gun and stop whatever training you're doing now for the current RPFT, because that is still what they're testing at Ranger School. But I want to break this down for you so that you can kind of have an idea of what might be coming in the future if you're somebody that's looking at going within the next, I don't know, maybe 6 months or a year, something like that. So you can start training these events on the side just in case. And since we're talking about training, I want to go ahead and take this opportunity to real quick talk about today's sponsor, Major Fitness. Major Fitness is a company dedicated to providing high-quality, versatile home gym equipment designed to empower individuals of all fitness levels to achieve their goals, focusing on accessible, durable, and innovative strength training racks and machines with a mission to make wellness a transformative journey for everyone, regardless of experience. I've been using Major Fitness equipment for years now, and actually my home garage gym is completely outfitted with their stuff. I'm a huge supporter of their mission, and I'm a huge supporter of the amount of value that they bring to the fitness space. I'll drop a link in the description so you guys can go check it out yourself. All right, guys, the new RPA, the new RPA for Ranger School. What are we looking at? What can we expect to see here in the future? Well, what they've been testing so far is basically an EPFA, the Expert Physical Fitness Assessment, is the same PT test that you would go through for any expert badge selection, right, or course, or whatever you want to call it. If you're going out there and get your EIB, your expert combat badge, your expert field medical badge, it's the same fitness test that they've been running through with those for the last, I want to say, 2 years. They're going to put that up front, and then they'll top it off with a classic 5-mile run in under 40 minutes, and then also the 6 chin-ups. The EPFA, for those of you that are not familiar with that test, it is a back-to-back event test that's done for time, and it's completed in full OCPs, body armor, helmet, and I believe that's it. And boots. I knew there was another element to that. OCPs, boots, yeah. So OCPs, boots, body armor, helmet. You'll start off with a 1-mile run, then you'll conduct 30 dead stop push-ups, 100-meter sprint, 16 sandbag lifts onto a 66-inch platform. Those sandbags are supposed to weigh about 40 pounds apiece. Then you'll do a 50-meter farmer's carry with 2 40-pound water cans. And then you'll do a 50-meter movement lane. And that 50-meter movement lane consists of a 25-meter high crawl and then another 25 meters of 3 to 5 second rushes, or IMTs. And you'll top all that off with another 1-mile run. And again, you're supposed to do this to a time standard. The time standard for an EIB is 27 minutes and 30 seconds. And then the time standard for anything else, the combat badge or the field medical badge, is 30 minutes. So with the new RPA, that will be the first portion. And then again, you'll go right into a 5-mile run in 40 minutes or less. And then those 6 chin-ups that you'll have to be able to do to standard, to Ranger standard. Okay, now for some additional context, like I promised, right? So I've been getting messages from IBOLIC students, from Ranger School holdovers, and I've even had some conversations with some current RIs. And they've all told me the same thing. They've all told me that the new RPA will look like that, most likely, what I just briefed you. The things that are not coming in the same from these different individuals that I'm getting information from is the time standard, right? They don't really have a time standard down pat yet. They think it's going to be somewhere around the EIB standard or less, right? For at least the EPFA portion of it. But there isn't like a concrete answer to that yet. And I don't think they've even figured it out. And in fact, the best answer I can give to you guys, and the best answer I've gotten from those that are in the know, is that they will most likely use the first couple classes, Ranger School classes of implementation to the new RPA to gauge what the time standard should be. So they'll probably start on the high end, where, you know, it's not as hard end. And if that's too easy, then they'll start bringing the time standard down. And they'll keep doing that until they get it just right, so the difficulty is at the level that they're seeking to reach. But I think all in all, I think it's fair to say that it's most likely going to be somewhere around the current EIB standard, which is 27 minutes and 30 seconds, right? It's probably what we're about to see. Another thing is when they're actually planning to start implementing this at Ranger School, which class is going to be the first class to actually go through the new RPA. That remains extremely unclear, okay? I've gotten word that it will be, the earliest it would be February 2025. I've also gotten very reliable information from a good source that it won't happen any earlier than sometime in 2026. Now that's a huge spread, right? And that just tells me right there that it most likely will not be February. And in fact, I would say that most likely it would be, if they were able to get everything right and go through all the trials they need to go through and you know, slap the table, it wouldn't be any earlier than mid-year of 2025. That's just my 2 cents. That's what I think would be the earliest we'd see this, if it actually indeed does happen. Now, why is this happening? Okay, it's not to reduce standards. That is very clear from the information I've been getting. It is not about reducing standards. It's actually, in fact, I would think this test is probably a little bit more difficult than the old RPFT, right? Because there's a lot more events involved, and there's a lot more mileage involved as well. So, I mean, you're going to have to be a good all-around hybrid athlete in order to conquer this test, for sure. No doubt about it. But the biggest reason that I've found, been told to me, and I believe this is straight for the Commandant, is that the Army just doesn't test push-ups and sit-ups anymore, so why should Ranger School do that? And that's a completely valid argument, right? That makes total sense to me. And if we already are implementing something like the EPFA on a routine basis for pretty high standards, right? I mean, the EIB candidates have to go through the EPFA, then why not implement something like that into physical fitness testing to get into Ranger School? It makes total sense to me. And then they keep the icing on the cake with the 5-mile run and the 6 chin-ups, just to keep it with that Ranger School flavor. So all in all, I actually think it would be a very good improvement. I think it's drastically better than what we were seeing for the original new RPA last year. If you guys remember me talking about that, obviously that never happened. And I remember you telling you guys, you know, I didn't think it was going to be happening anytime soon, even though they were talking about it. And I wouldn't be surprised if it never did happen. Well, here we are today, and it's not going to happen. But I think this one has a better chance of actually happening, only because they're taking standards that already exist in the Army and already have applicability within the Army, and they already test to a very high standard, and Ranger School is all about testing for high standards. So that makes sense to me. And I don't think it would be too difficult to pull this off as far as like having cadre there to actually grade the testing. I know of a Ranger School holdover right now who had the opportunity to go through this new RPA for some testing purposes, and he told me that it all happens still at Malvesti, still on or around the Malvesti obstacle course area, just the same place that the RPFT has been happening for years, and they have a different setup where the stations need to be in the lanes and stuff like that, but it's not super complicated. And as far as the Ebola cats that were giving me their insight on the whole thing, the last one that I spoke with, their class didn't have any failures of this testing. Some guys were doing better, some guys and gals were doing better than others, right? There were some that were just completely crushing it out of the water, and there was some that were kind of just hovering around the mark there, but all of them, I believe, passed. All right, so nothing too crazy there. And I'll top everything off with this from a current Ranger School instructor. I'm not going to name any names or anything because I don't want to rat anybody out. Not that I think this is a big deal. I don't think I'm giving information out that shouldn't be given out. But from a current RI, I was told directly that if students show up to Ranger School now, being able to crush the RPFT, being able to do those 49 push-ups, those 59 sit-ups, the 5-mile run in 40 minutes or less, and the 6 chin-ups, then they will move on to RAP week. Just there's been no change there. Ranger School is still happening just the way it's been happening for years. There has not been any official changes, nor has there been any official announcements for a change. Okay, so this is all just testing phases. Yes, they're definitely getting after it. They're definitely looking at implementing this new PT test, but it's not going to just happen all of a sudden without announcement, okay? Because they're not going to just try to set everybody up for failure. They're going to give everybody enough time to train up appropriately and be able to come and, if they trained up appropriately, crush the new RPA, okay? So keep that in mind. Don't freak out now. Keep training however you've been training. If you're using the Gritty Soldier Ranger School program, just keep using it as is, okay? Because we aren't planning on making any changes to that program unless there is an official announcement for change, okay? Because it wouldn't be doing you guys any favors either if we start training for this new standard that's never going to actually exist. But all in all, I just wanted to give you guys that update. I wanted to make sure that you guys understood what was going on, what the situation was. I wanted to squash any crazy rumors out there. And honestly, I've been getting hit up so much about it on like Instagram and my DMs. And hopefully this kind of flattens some bubbles out there for you guys. But as always, if you guys have any information yourself, actual credible official information yourself, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. Let me know. Please don't hesitate to drop that information in the comments for everybody that's watching this video, because the more information we have on this channel, the better. It's all about the community. We're trying to make the community better. So if you have good information, please drop it. Don't forget to like and subscribe if this information was useful to you, because that is very useful to me. Besides that, I've got nothing else for you. Stay motivated, stay disciplined, most importantly, stay gritty, and I will see you on the next one.